Hi there, here's a little follow-up to the rounded corners and masks package that for vMix that I put on my download page just recently. A lot of people have asked to see if they could do a more straight line package rather than the corners, and straight lines not just like the squares and rectangles within vMix itself, but slightly skewed or keystoned off. So what I've got here is a package that's got about 1,000 images in of masks and various borders across various different configurations based around the same sort of size packages as the old ones. So you've got full 16:9 masks and borders, 4:3 masks and borders, square masks and borders, and 3:4 masks and borders. But with the skews here, we've got a degree of angle, so you can make sort of exciting compositions on your multi-views. So within each individual layer, there's a skew of either 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees, or 20 degrees. So you can set various different configurations and make sort of a patterned effect that works quite well. So you can see in these examples here, we've got a left skew, a standard single skew there. And then this one here is the same angle of skews. It's the same amount, but it's got angles either side. So we call that a Keystone Skew. And then we've got that same Keystone Skew, but inverted. So all the images have actually got a equivalent horizontal flip, vertical flip, and both flip as well in the pack. So that's why it gets up to about 1,000 plus images. So every example could be mirrored. So in this example here, you could have the skew, you'll be able to find the skew angled off to the other side, or this top corner up there, or this top corner up there, etc., etc. So we can see how the masks have been imported here. Again, you can import them individually or using lists, depending on how busy your show is. A lot of the time it might just be the one package of lists you want to use, one package of masks and borders you want to use. You might just import them once and use them throughout your show, but you can use as many as you want, or if you use a lot, it's sometimes easier to pop them in lists and then they can be changed accordingly. But you can see here that each individual mask has got a corresponding border. So that mask there has got a border there of 20 around it in this example. That single skew has got a border around it. The keystone one has got a border, and vice versa all the way through. So that creates these effects here. So if we look at how we actually create that, it's very similar to the previous packs. So if you've downloaded those, then you'll be quite familiar with this, but it's a simple way of overlaying a mask and then overlaying a border as well. So in this example here, we've got a standard full 16:9 that hasn't got a mask on, and we want to make it so it's got this single skew and it's got the border on the top. So we go into the actual input itself, and on the color key, we go down to the key fill input and we choose the mask that we want. First of all, we choose the mask. In this example, it's number 7, and you can see there then the image has been masked out. It's been created with the shape there in input 7. It doesn't look the same as this though, because we haven't got a border on top. So now we want to assign this border that we've chosen, a 20 pixel border, which is exactly the same shape as this, but with the alpha out in the middle on top of this. So to do that, we go into the multi-view for this layer, and on the bottom layer, we pop border 8. And now you'll see that that's been overlaid on there, so it fits in with the style of all these. So what we can do now is we've got these 4 inputs, it's quite easy to actually assign a layer. So what I've done here is assigned all those 4 inputs onto a simple background layer and moved them around, and that looks a little bit more exciting than a standard rectangular or square pip selection. What you can do then obviously is make them bigger, smaller, etc., etc. So you could have an example like this where then the merge effect would look quite nice and be able to merge between the two, making one corner bigger as you go along, or making it as dynamic as you want. It's worth noting that because these borders are attributed to the actual image themselves, then if the border is a bigger size, or you have an image with a different size or shaped border, then the merge effect won't work because the border won't relate to the previous border in the preview, if that makes sense. The border's got to be the same for a merge effect to work. For example, this larger image is exactly the same as that smaller image, so when they do merge, the merge is corresponding and they move as we'd expect. But obviously you can use other effects like cut or fade, and it's still a nicer effect or a nicer composition than just the standard rectangle and square borders that come within vMix itself. So looking at another example, we can see here, we can also have, instead of just the normal single skews or keystone skews, we can have what we call twin skews. So it's the same amount of skew on both sides. So in this example here, we've got a 3:4 skew, and then a square skew, another square skew, and a 3:4 skew. And these have been made up from these masks here. There's the mask and its corresponding border for the smaller part, and the mask and the corresponding border for the larger part. And you can see here they're named accordingly, and they're quite easy to find in the file structure. So this one is square, 15 degree skew, twin edge, 20 border. This one is square, 15 degree skew, twin edge, full. So they're quite easy to find when you actually sometimes navigate within the file structure to find exactly what mask or what border you need. So in this example, we've done the 4 images there, and we can pop them there as a multi-view layer that again might look more dynamic than just having the 4 side by side, or we could always have that one there. So you can, in this way, you can use masks and combine them to make different combinations and different layers however you want. In the next example, again, we've just chosen four presenters, one with a left skew. The next 3 are all with a keystone layer. So we've got the same angle of degree, same angle of skew there, and then 3 presenters that have had masks attributed to them that are just literally on the keystone effect. So that becomes like that. So if we cut that to full, you can see there you've got 1 full presenter, maybe with 3 guests. And then what you can do from that is go in, obviously into the full. So you could have a full guest there. So we go from presenter 2 into full. Now this is where you have to be careful with the merge. So if I merge this, you'll see that that doesn't look all good or do exactly what we want to do, because we're merging from a much smaller border to a much larger border, and vMix obviously doesn't see them as the same image. So in these ones, a simple cut or a simple fade would achieve the desired effect of mixing between the two. On the last one, I'm going to show you here as well, we can have presenters where you can, as I say, we can have the 2 presenters there with exactly the same 16:9 twin skew, and then the next 2 presenters have got the same skew, but it's been flipped. So you can see there is the mask that's called 16:9 15 degree skew twin edge full. The other mask, 16:9 15 degree skew twin edge full flip vertical. So in this case, we've got a normal mask and normal border, and then the flipped mask and the flipped border. And this allows us to create the 4 images there. And then those 4 images can then be used to make a composition like that, where you have 2 pointing one way and in theory 2 pointing the other way. Then once you've got them full, we can obviously go to the individual ones again, and because they're the same size, the merge effect works quite nicely and merges between 2 for any of the presenters. So we can go from the 4 shot to the single shot, 4 shots to the single shot, and back again. So that gives a very, very brief demo of how the skewed layers and borders and masks work. Like I say, there's so many to choose from across the pack, then you can combine them and make them into any sort of different combination depending on how creative you want to be. But if we just go ahead quickly now and just show to see what it's actually like to create, how easy it is to create from scratch. So in the bottom here, I've just got 4 blank presenters. And we're going to create a basic single new layer with these. So what I want to do now is import some masks. So I'll go into my folders and then we'll look for some masks. So if I go back, I'll go into the 15 degrees and we'll go into the single, let's go by 3x4. So we'll go 3x4 and we'll go for a single mask. We want to have a 15 degrees sorry, it's 5 degrees on here, and we'll just have a normal single mask. So we want to have a single mask on here. So we'll go all the way down and we'll go 3.5. There it is, 3x4, sorry, 5 degree skew single full mask. And that's the mask we want to use for the first of the 4. So this will be the first presenter. Now we also want to then have the corresponding border for this. So this will be a 3x4 5 degree border on a single. So, and there it is, let's have it as a 20. So we can drag that in, and that 20 border will fit exactly around that mask. Then what we want to do is then add a keystone view of 3x4 with a 5 degree skew and a keystone of 20. So here we are. So we've got at the top, we've got 3x4, 5 degree skew, keystone 20, but we want to have the full first. So we want to have the full mask. So 3x4 degree, 5 degree skew, keystone full. So we'll add that in as well. Slow that in there. So there's the keystone version with a skew on the left and the right. And then what we'll do is add the keystone with a 20 border. So 3x4, 5 degree skew, keystone 20 border. And again, you can see how the border lines up on that one. Now what we want to do for the next person, third person, is to have this mask, but obviously flipped, so it'll fit in nicely along the edge. So we want to go for our 3x4 5-degree skew keystone full, but flipped. So it's going to be a flipped vertical. So rather than the full, here we are, the 3x4 keystone full, we'll go for the flip vertical. And you can see there, that is the vertical flip of that. And likewise, we want to replace this one, this mask border here, sorry, with one that is a similar border to the edge there. So it's a 3x4 5-degree 20 flipped vertical. So again, now we've got a border that fits. And then the last one is going to be the closing one of the 4. So this will be like this skew, but obviously flipped upside down as well and back to front, so that the 4th person can nudge up to that angle there. So it'll be a 3x4 5-degree skew single full, but flipped both ways. So we've got a 3x4 5-degree skew single full, flipped both. We pop that there, and you can see that that's the reverse of that, and that'll nudge up nicely on that. And then we obviously need to find the mask for that as well. So it's a 3x4 5-degree skew single 20 border, but flipped both. So it's the same border we had there, but basically the one that says flipped both. And then you can see there, that's been flipped as well. So what we can do now is we can, now we've got the masks imported, we can go back into our main setup and apply the mask and the borders to all these 4 presenters. So the first presenter, just to show how easy it is on the color key, and then we want to apply this mask here, which is number 69. So we go all the way down to 69, apply the mask, and in the multi-view, apply border 70. So border 70 gets applied. There's our first presenter. The next one, we want to do this pair here. So it's the keystone going up with the border around it. So it's 71 and 72. So we go color key, oops, down to 71. And border is 72. And that'll fit in quite nicely against that. This one we want to make the same as this, but in theory upside down, so that's why we're using these 2 flip masks and borders here. So we're going to use 73 and 74. So on the key fill input we do 73, and on the border overlay we do 74. And then finally for the last one we want to make it so it's the cornered again, but the reverse corner of this. So we go into this, and it'll be color key 75. And a border 76. And we can see there we've now got the 4 inputs easily created that would all work quite nicely. So if I add another input now very quickly and go into this and just assign a background, and then we can pop in presenter 63. I make them slightly smaller. Let's make them 60% and take them over 0.7. Then we go into presenter 64. And again, making the same size of presenter 1, which is the 60%. And then just move that over. Oops, on the X, sorry. 0.2, 0.15. Then we go to layer 4 and put presenter 3. Again, make it 0.6. Make it 1.5 the other way. It's going to be slightly more than that then. Let's make it 0.25. 0.25, make it 0.225. 4, 0.225. And then our last layer we can make as presenter 4, 0.66. And again make that to 0.6 and have it the same 0.7 that presenter 1 was. Reverse, and there you can see you have the 4 layers all ready to go. So that shows you how easy it is to create a nice new multi-view layer. and it can be used with any of the angles, and then things can be moved accordingly, adjusted and moved, made bigger, made smaller. The world is your oyster really on that. Like I say, there's plenty of packs on there. So you can see you've got all the different packs by category. So 3x4 and the 5 degrees, 10, 15, 20, and then ones with no skew. So you've just got the full squared off images. And then the same for 4x3, 16x9, and square. So hopefully that gives you an idea roughly of how the package works. Like I say, it's a follow-up to the rounded one. So if you liked using that, then this is a natural follow-on really, but there's an awful lot more to it because of the fact you can be able to combine and sort of like a jigsaw effect and make multiple images join up to each other to create a much more exciting sort of composite effect. But if you've got any questions, then either put them in comments below, or you can go to the download page. The link will be below as well, or send me an email. It's absolutely fine, and I'll hopefully get some comments, and hopefully you like it. Thanks, Sam.